I go, watch me as I go. Should I look both ways before you cross me, baby? 'Cause I don't break for boys. I'm moving on. For miles, 67 fastback, oh, it's just my style.
Welcome to the Audubon Country Club North Track. Right here is the turn 8 apex. This is the last corner of the lap. Cars will be going double file here to take the green. The starter stand is the red structure on the left. Start finish line coming up here into a really fast turn 1, almost 100 miles an hour. The fast guys will be going flat out into a very hard braking zone for turn 2. Second gear, really important to be on the power early because it is all about this downhill exit. And then we enter turn 3, which will be full throttle for all the Spec Miatas, no lift here. And then this is the most technical part of the lap, turn 4 and 5. Turn 4, really important to make sure you get the car set up on the exit for the turn 5 full throttle entry. There's no lift through turn 5 and you'll be upshifting to 4th gear in the middle of it. Here's turn 6, second hardest braking zone. Really important to turn in as late as you can. It's relatively low grip compared to the other corners, but it's really important to, instead of not slow down enough, over slow so you get the better exit. Here's turn 7. Most critical part of this corner is to roll the best amount of speed possible since there's no straightaway after it. And then turn 8, really critical to get a good exit because of the long straightaway. Looks like good power down there. And just kind of let the car track out, minimize the friction in the front of the car. And that's a lap of Autobahn North Track, about a 1:11.8.
And thank you, Britt, for this lap around the 1.46 mile circuit of the Autobahn North Track. Once again, everybody, we welcome you all into today's coverage of the GT Challenge race and Spec Miata race here for the Autobahn Member Racing Series. Once again, in the commentary booth, I'm Jordan Missick, followed by Ben Hasbrook alongside me here as we are getting ready and set for some action-packed racing.
Good afternoon, Autobahn members and race fans. Great to have you with us today on this beautiful sunny afternoon down here in Joliet, Illinois. Really looking forward to some good GT racing coming up here.
Yeah, it's going to be a very action-packed series as we have 5 classes between all of the whole field today. We got around 13 to 14 cars ranging from GT1 cars all the way down to GT5 cars here today as we get ready to get set. The field is right now completing its first of 2 pace laps here, so we expect to go green next time by as the field rolls alongside and rolls through the start-finish line to continue their first pace lap. But as we make our way through, let's go ahead and set our way through the grid here as we get ready for the start of this GT Challenge race. So we'll start off with row number 1 here. We got the 999 of Brandon Collins and the 91 of Dan Gov as they lead the GT1 field across the line. Row number 2 is going to be Tom Herb and Ron Roshinsky, and they will start off the GT2 field and GT3 fields as their pole sitters. Row number 3, will be Charles Margosian and Dick Ruck. Row number 4 will be Valdez, Gurlis, I think is the name, and then Sean V will be in the 8th spot. Row number 5, we got Scott Benning Jr. and Bob Norian rounding out the 10th spot. Row number 6, we have Mike Keck in the 691, Porsche 994, and Julie Riggin, who will be starting in the 12th spot. And then rounding out the field, we're going to have Jeff Shurry in the 13th spot, and then Brian Helmentoller rounding out the field in P14.
Also, now's a great opportunity to thank Lexus for our ultra white LC500, the official pace car of the Autobahn Member Racing Series. They're coming around, getting side by side, coming into these final corners here before the green flag.
Field is now doubled up as they roll through turn number 7. The pace car starts to accelerate away. The other thing is we want to point out is that Tadeusz Karlinskis, who was supposed to be qualified P2 today, has not made and joined the grid today. So unfortunately, he was going to be missed on the grid as the field now rolls around the final corner of turn number 9. Beautiful tie by side, 2x2 field as we now roll to the start-finish straight, looking for the green.
There.
Yeah, I mean, the back of the field is kind of starting to get a little out of shape, but nonetheless, the green flag is down and we are racing here on the Autobahn North Circuit. Brandon Collins jumps out to the early lead as Dan Gov will now slot into the 3rd spot. I believe that what looks like the BMW Ron Krasinski who went up to the 2nd spot.
Brandon with a huge lead going into 3.
Dan Gov tries to look to the inside, not going to think better of it as he falls back in line as the rest of the field kind of slowly, methodically moves its way through. Brandon Collins, though, just running away with it as of now.
Tight racing back in that GT5 class as well.
Cars now start to kind of sort themselves out as it is coming to the end of the first lap here. So halfway through it, people are now
taking a look.
Looking to the inside now. Mike Hecht will think better of it. Tucks in back in line behind Bob Norian as they go through turn number 6. Dan Gov, as we look to the inside, will now move up to the 2nd spot, and he can now set his sights on going after Brandon Collins. Dick Ruck there in the 40 of the nice Trans Am car that he's been running lately. He's kind of now running in the 4th spot there. 5th spot, actually, but 2nd spot in the GT2 class.
Great shot as cars are shuffling around in the back here. Things spacing out a little bit. Some close action between Jeff Schur and Brian Helmentoller, though, all the way in the back.
So as the field comes by, we'll read through the order. Brandon Collins leads the way right now with the fastest lap of 103.7. Again, it's only lap 1. Dan Gov is now slotted into the 2nd spot there. Tom Herb runs 3rd. Ron Roshinsky in the 4th spot. Dick Ruck is 5th. And that is the top 5 as they run through. The field goes through turns 3, 4, and 5.
Things are really spacing out there. I know from driving around this week, track's a little bit greasy out there. So what do you think the drivers are thinking about while they're starting these first couple laps?
Yeah, I talked to some drivers beforehand, and, a lot of them were saying that the track has seemed a little bit more greasy and a little bit slower than what it has been in the past couple of days. Yesterday especially felt like a pretty good day in the morning, and then it kind of slowed up towards the afternoon part. So I would expect the same thing here, and a lot of drivers are saying that the pace of the track itself has gotten a little bit more slick as the day has gone on.
Great little battle here. You know, it doesn't matter where you're running in the field. There's always kind of somebody to run with out there as we're watching the back of the field here.
Yes, this is Jeff Schurer right now. He's a GT4 car, as well as Brian Helmenthaler in the back of the GT5 field have kind of been battling towards the back of the pack here. But two guys who are like, and that's the thing about this GT Challenge
The
field.
inside.
Yeah, he does. They're going to go side by side down the straightaway here. Brian Helmenthaler now going to have the advantage of Jeff Schurer. He's going to be on the inside, but Brian Helmenthaler is going to give him the spot. As now Jeff Schurer has got the inside line going through turn number 1, sets up for turn number 2, takes a little bit of a defensive line there. Brian Helmenthaler now sets it up, looking for a switchback, comes back on the inside. Helmenthaler now side by side with Jeff Schurer as they head down to turn number 3. And give the spot to Helmenthaler as he comes through turn number 3. Yep. So Helmenthaler now going to look forward to try to go get Julie Riggin right in front of him. And like I was saying, you know, at the GT class, there's so many different cars and so many different classes that you can almost pick anybody out on the racetrack and be able to have a nice battle with. And even they're not even in your class as well, Ben. You know, they could be in a GT2 car, GT3 car. You're roughly around the exact same speed as you're able to battle around the whole entire track together.
Exactly. That's why you see Charles Margosian and that came in there up against Sean in a BMW, still getting some tight racing action.
Field now kind of starting to spread out there as we can kind of see the intervals and the gaps between each other on their screen there. Brandon Collins has now opened it up to about a 1.8 second lead over Dan Gov. Tom Herb now slots in the third, like we mentioned. 3.3 seconds behind Brandon Collins, but leads the GT2 field. And then you got Ron Roshinsky, who leads the GT3 field, sitting there in 4th spot overall. Field is now kind of majority of the field, I would say, is now flowing through turns 6 and now going down the straightaway into turn 7. As we see there's the number 40 machine of Dick Ruck, and then number 24 of Valdez running into turn number 7 there. Everyone kind of just strung it out there, kind of settling in a little bit there. Now just kind of starting to click off some laps here. Again, we got about a 20-lap race between the whole GT field, so 2 laps have been complete right now. Looking at about 18 laps to go here. Charles Margosian right now is kind of just trying to stretch his legs there in that Porsche. Trying to bring himself away from Scott Benning Sr. in that BMW.
It's all going to come down to consistency for these two guys. They got a long race to go still.
Yeah, a lot can happen here in the last couple laps here as we now have kind of started to get into the little bit of a groove here. So the field now going to just try to kind of patiently patiently string itself together and try to put off and click off some consistent laps. Brandon Collins right now has also continued to extend its lead to now a 2.2 second gap. 101.7 has been his fastest lap. Rest of the field now just kind of running single file as now Brandon Collins has started to catch up to some back markers there as he's now put Brandon Helmenthaler a lap down. Jeff Schurer has already gone a lap down. Julie Riggin will be the next car in front of Brandon Collins for him to put a lap down.
Some pretty amazing pace that he's showing out there.
You know, the Brandon Collins in that Porsche GT3 Cup car, 991 GT3 Cup car, has been able to show off some pretty competitive lap times for what a Porsche has been able to do. You know, most of the prototype cars that we've seen around here have been able to generate lap times around the 1 minute to 101 range, and he's doing the exact same thing in a GT3 Cup car. So we know the car has been is powerful enough to be able to do it, but for one, he's been able to show with the pace that it has around this 1.46 mile track is pretty impressive.
Let alone the fact that he's actually running in both races today as well.
Yeah, he's one of the only guys who are going to be doing double duty here as he's after. You can see the tire marks that he left on the tracks there too. But yeah, Brandon Collins is definitely one of the guys who are going to be pulling double duty here today after this race. He's going to be hopping into his Spec Miata to go do that race and do battle for that. He actually qualifies P2 for that race right next to Matt Alexander, the eventual pole sitter.
Right now, he's got the track all to himself, it looks like.
He has turned this into a little bit of a lapping session, I would say. He's extended the gap tremendously over Dan Gov. I believe last time by, it's been now a 14.2 second lead, I want to see. as we can now work our way through turn number 2. We have some beautiful camera shots via our drone that is flying over the track here, and we are able to get these beautiful pictures of the whole, not only Audubon North Circuit, but all these cars as they fly past us underneath from turn 2 to turn 3.
BMW on BMW going into 7 here.
Different
Tom Herb pulls it off.
Same manufacturers, but different types of cars. As we got Tom Herb now, who's kind of just been on his own, running in the 3rd spot there, leader in GT2 class, though. The next car behind him would be Dick Ruck, the other GT2 competitor that he's racing up against, but he's got himself probably a good, comfortable 14-second lead over Dick Ruck.
Running about 1 second a lap differences out there. So Tom's got that car dialed in.
Pace of that BMW is no match for what the Trans Am car was, what Dick Ruck's capable of. So Dick Ruck trying to be able to slap together, I would say, a couple of good laps here to see if he could try to reel in the BMW number 46 of Tom Herb as this race goes on. Again, we got plenty of more laps to go, 15 laps to go. We're a quarter of the way through this race. Plenty of time for him to come back.
Dan Gove clear of that lap traffic there.
Yeah, it's Julie Riggin that was right that you just put a lap down on. And Brian Helmenthaler, the next car right behind Julie Riggin. So Brian really trying as best he can to catch up to Julie Riggin. But now they're both out of class. Julie's in a GT4 car, whereas Brian Helmenthaler is running in a GT5. So kind of out of class position there, but still enough to go and compete each other on the racetrack. Dan Gove now making its way through turn number 1. Julie Riggin coming through turn number 2. As we've seen Tom Herb now coming up to the back of Julie Riggin to put her a lap down. There's Tom Herb right on the back of Julie now.
Tom him up a little bit there.
Tom
clear going into 5.
Yep, goes to the inside, was able to get by of Julie Riggin, and now can set his sights to try to go chase down the Corvette of Dan Gove. Got about a straightaway's worth of a gap there from turn 7 to turn 6 here. But really what we talked about here, Ben, is the difference of elevation change. Some people really don't see the difference in elevation change when they look at this track because they think of it just like a flat surface from inside the car. But here on this drone shot, we have a really good vantage point of what it's like from going from turn 6 to turn 7. As you can see, the downhill undulation of what turn 6 provides.
Yeah, and going uphill, going into 7, that really helps your braking too. So, get double the opportunity for making a pass in there.
Yeah, it allows for more braking capability, so you're able to drive the car in a lot deeper, able to kind of, hit the brakes a little bit harder, and it kind of the uphill slows you down a lot. As we see Brandon Collins continue to move through some of this GT car field, he's now about halfway through the field of put a lap down. As we now see Matt Keck right here in this 994 Porsche moving his way through turn 8. I was talking with Matt before this race actually happened during lunch hour, and he was having a little hard time with the braking ability. He had Brandon Collins was working with him in his 994 Porsche yesterday to get some training in, but was just having a hard time keeping up with Brandon in terms of the entry corner speed to carry him through the middle of the corner and on the exit. So that's something that Mike has definitely been working on here lately, and we're seeing if it's been able to pay off in the race here today.
Looks like it is. I mean, he's being really consistent out there. You do have to say that and give that to him.
Yeah, consistency is a huge factor here, and especially in the race car throughout these duration of races. You want to be able to stay consistent, being able to put all these lap times together, be able to click off laps very similar to what your fastest lap is like, and that's what shows the consistency out here and what some of these drivers and what we want to teach here at the Audubon Country Club.
Very different lines between Bob and Mike coming out of turn 6 there. You can see that Bob was really staying over to the left, opening up that wheel a little bit more, so that might be where he's gaining some of that advantage.
And you start to see different types of personality and traits with some of these drivers, as well as with the different types of cars. That you could see different types of lines. So each car is very particular on its line. As we see from the flag stand, we are showing the cross flags, meaning that we are halfway through this race. But like I was saying, you get different types of variant lines. And as we look on this North Circuit, you get people to drive different types of lines going, let's say, through turn number 1 or through turn number 6. So different ways of people taking different lines comes into different outcomes and how they generate lap time around this place.
Might be a good time to kind of note the Audubon Driver Academy while you're talking about that. We actually ran a pretty interesting program that you led up starting yesterday, actually running into today, that we were able to compare some video of different drivers out there. So Jeff Schur being one of those drivers that went through that program, testing out some new things today as he lets Dan go by there.
Yeah, the whole program was basically to get people ready for race day, and turning it, try to simulate kind of what it was on a race weekend basis like. So we had a whole day of practice yesterday. A bunch of guys were able to go on a track and just kind of in their A and B sessions be able to just do some laps, learn some new things. Then we brought them back into a classroom, went over some video, went over some data, and just kind of showed them, what's the different line you're taking, how are you taking it, and then compare them to other people that were in the class and kind of just showed them, this is how he's taking it and where he's maybe better than you or where you're better than him. So each and every person that was in the class were able to learn from each other. And now we kind of, we're able to kind of group up together today, go over what it's like from yesterday and how we can translate it into the qualifying into the race later today. So it's definitely paying off for some of these drivers as they've been able to take their talents and take their skills that they learned yesterday and applied it to today. So we can see right now Brandon Collins has kind of continued to make his way through the field. He's all the way up to the 5th spot of Dick Ruck right now, where they'll put him a lap down as the rest of this field is kind of now has kind of continued to mow its way through the field.
Looking at our sponsors here on the screen here, we have Highland Management Associates, Eurosport Racing, and CXI Trucking, sponsors of the GT Series.
Yeah, big, huge sponsorship, and thanks to them for being able to put on the sponsorship for this racing. We wouldn't be able to do this without them and all their efforts that they've been able to do. So it's a much appreciated effort for them to take the time and the efforts to sponsor the racing series that we have here in the GT Challenge.
A lot of different opportunities for sponsorship out here as well. So you can sponsor different race series. There's corners you can sponsor. So if you do have any questions, definitely reach out. We got some different opportunities for you. Signature Production Group, another sponsor. They help us with all of our filming and production on the back end of our live streams.
So big thanks to all of our sponsors that have been able to be part of the Audubon Member Racing Series here at the Audubon Country Club as we continue on with the racing and the aspect of what's happening on the racetrack. And it looks like Brian Helmentoller a little bit in that 28 Miata is starting to close the gap a little bit on Julie Riggin there as she enters now turn number 7.
Really good shot of all the action there. Everybody's spread out a little bit. Kind of a nice Sunday afternoon drive out here down at Audubon Country Club today.
And the North Track is small enough to where we can almost get the whole entire track within this shot. But you can just see how these cars are just kind of moving around this racetrack, how they're spread out. We got 2 cars now going on the front straightaway, 3 cars now going on the front straightaway, 2 in turn 8, 2 into turn 7. You can see cars all around this whole racetrack.
And with the track this tight, I mean, these drivers, they might be spread out, but they're not really getting a lot of time to relax out there. You get right up to that next set of corners real quick on North Track.
Yeah, the straightaways aren't the longest here on the Audubon North Track, so those corners do come up very quick, and they are very tight at some cases. So a very fast flowing track that we have here at the Audubon Country Club for the North Track. As now we can see almost the whole entire track in the shot. Beautiful shot here as now we got some cars going in the North 6 here. That's Charlie Margosian in that Porsche that was right there. Brian Helmentoller getting passed right by, I believe, that was Scott Benning Jr., I believe? Or Senior, that's his. Nope, excuse me, sorry. That was the 23 of Sean V that we had going through the corner there in that BMW. There's Brian Helmentoller right now in the Miata.
So another thing to note here is with GT racing, so we do have all these different cars out there, and really it's based on power to weight ratio. There's some other factors that go into it, but we got those 5 different classes out there, GT1 being the top class out there, going all the way down to GT5. Transmission makes a difference, so whether you have paddle shifters, whether it's a manual, what type of tires you're running, if you have aero on the car. So it's really set up to actually be, fair racing between all these different classes, so you always got someone to run against.
And that's actually the battle for the lead here in GT4 as we got right now it's Charlie Margosian having the lead, Sean V trying to stay as best as he can to stay with Charles Margosian as Sean V was able to get by Julie Riggin there in turn 3 to 4. He needed to get that move done in order to be able to stay with Charles Margosian, as Dan Gov's now going to come play a little bit of a factor here as he's got a much higher horsepower car, so he should be able to kind of get by the BMW Sean V as V's now going to go a little defensive here. Dan Gov kind of picks his line, gets around him, stays on the driving line.
And unfortunately, there, Sean might have lost a little bit of time or coming around there. So
He did. He did lose some time, but here's the thing. Dan Gov's got to go up against Charles Margosian now and get by him. Fortunately enough for Charles is that Dan's going to get by him here on the straightaway, but will the braking capacity of Dan Gov slow him down right here? Is Charles going to close right onto the back of Dan Gov into the corner? Gives him a little bit of enough room for Dan to kind of pick his way through. Dan's now going to kind of go on his way and kind of run off into the sunset here. But we got Charles Margosian and Sean V continuing the battle.
Yeah, and it looked like coming into turn 2 there that, Charles might have, been a little bit focused on Dan Gove a little bit much there and lost some of that time in the braking zone.
A little bit of target fixation there, I'd say, of my part. So we now have 6 laps to go, coming to 5 to go this time by. As we continue to move on, Sean V is still trying to lure in Charles Margosian as the laps start to click off. He has been 0.2 of a lap quicker the fastest time by. Sean was able to run a 107.7, whereas Charles is running a 107.9, so 0.2 faster the last time by. Next car of a GT4 class as well has been Scott Benning Sr. Right there in that number 59 red, white, and blue BMW. Has to get by the number 90 of Julie Riggin right there. That's a lap down car before they get up to the back bumper or get into the same line of path of what Charles Margosian and Sean V would be running.
Scott Benning having a really impressing, as he goes for the pass here down into 2.
Yeah, thought about it right there.
Having a really good season, though. So he moved up from Spec Miata to GT racing this year, showing a lot of improvement on pace and really getting comfortable in that car. It's good to see him making some moves, making some passes out there.
Now we saw Scott Benning Sr. get by Julie Riggin there. We also saw Tom Herb right there get into the picture. Goes by Brian Helmenthaler there. Puts him another lap down.
As Brandon Collins comes around again to lap those back markers one more time.
Yeah, Brandon Collins has been running a 102 lap pace, I'd say, for the past couple laps right now. But he's been up in the 101s as his fastest lap. So Brandon has been putting a hurting on this field so far. Has been really strong, having a lot of fun driving that Porsche. Going around the final corner there at Scott Benning Sr. Now he's going to try to put his head down, get some laps in to go after Sean V and Charles Margosian right there, as they're now within a second of each other, as Tom Herb is now coming on the scene. Here comes Brandon Collins as well. Tom Herb going to look to the inside, thinks better of it, tucks back in line. Brandon Collins is going to come show up on the scene. And again, these are 2 lap cars all on the different laps here. So you got so you have Brandon Collins here behind them all, about 2 laps ahead of Tom Herb, or a lap ahead of Tom Herb, but both of these cars are 2 laps ahead of Scott Benning Sr.
Very experienced drivers, though. You can see them just waiting for that right moment to kind of pick and choose when they're going to make this pass here.
Yeah, lots of speed difference between all 3 cars here, but I think we all kind of picked the time to go is now. Tom Herb going to look to the inside of Scott Benning Sr. He'll going to let him go. Now it's going to be Brandon Collins' turn. Collins is going to get on the gas, look to the left-hand side, goes flowing by Scott Benning Sr., and then he'll look to the front straightaway to potentially get Tom Herb. Tom Herb now going to take his normal racing line. Brandon Collins follows in line as we come to the front straightaway. Look for Brandon Collins to get on the gas, open the hands up, and let the car fly as he's going to now go off the corner. He's going to take it to the right-hand side, go by Tom Herb, and be on his merry way.
It's one of the great things about club racing is you really get to know the drivers around you, what level of experience they're at, and the level of trust that you have with all the different people that you're racing around out there. Nice and smooth. Couple laps to go. We only have 2 laps to go here right now.
The gap between Charles V and Charles Margosian and Sean V, I should say, has now kind of opened up just above a second, as right now Charles Margosian still holding off Sean V for the GT4 lead, and as we come now to 2 to go. Brandon Collins now coming through turn number 6, heading towards turn number 7. We'll probably see the white flag this time by, as he has run a near perfect race all the way from start to finish here. Through the final 2 corners, through turn 8 and turn 9, he'll come onto the straightaway, look to the starter stand. We'll see the white flag up in the air as 1 lap to go for Brandon Collins here at the Autobahn.
we're going to jump back to the GT4 race going on here.
It's actually right in front of where Brandon Collins is, so he has a front row seat to this battle between Charles Margosian and Sean V as they come through turn number 3 and turn number 4. Charles Margosian trying to just drive as best as he can with Sean V right behind him. Now it's going to be interesting. Does Brandon Collins wait and let these guys go by to give him one more lap, or does he spoil the party, get in front of them, and end their race a lap early?
Yeah, they really closed up that gap between them. So if he's going to make a move, this is the time to do it.
It's either you got to get both of them, or you can't. You just let them go. Let them race it out. Don't just get one or the other. As here now, Sean V has closed up the gap substantially to Charles Margosian here.
And it looks like they're going to get one more lap in this battle here. So.
Potentially, we'll see. Brandon's pretty quick down the front straightaway. Will he play nice? Will he give it to them? As they come out of the final corner, Charles Margosian leads the way over Sean V. They come to the white flag now. Brandon Collins will look to his left. He will receive the checkered flag. He'll let him race. Brandon Collins flashing the lights. He wins the GT Challenge from GT1.
Still racing out there with these two, though.
Yeah, now they got the white flag, so now the race is on. Charles Margosian, the lead car right now in that blue and white Porsche, leading the way from Sean V as they enter turn number 3.
Really got 2 or 3 more passing opportunities here. So we get one more coming up into turn 6 here as we come around turn 4.
The gap is closed. He is there.
5, and we got a white flag out there. So we do have a slower moving vehicle, it looks like, in front. Is that going to play into anything?
Oh, it's a stop vehicle.
Wow.
We had
Vehicle out on track.
Bob Norian stopped right on the driving line at the exit of turn number 5, but we keep on racing as the field now heads through turn number 6, heading towards turn number 7. Charles Margosian continues to lead. Sean V right in the tire tracks as they enter turn 7. He looks to the inside, trying to fill the mirrors up. Not going to do it as Charles Margosian holds on to it.
Here.
Penultimate corner. Final time as they come through turn number 9. Charles Margosian gets on the gas, lets the Porsche ride, and he's going to do his best to hold off Sean V as they come to the line to get the checker flag and win in GT4. So Charles Margosian is able to hold off Sean V to take the victory in GT4 as a stranded Bob Norian just sits on the exit of turn number 5.
Long race out there. You got to wonder if it was gas related or what happened to Bob out there.
Yeah, a very unfortunate circumstance to what happened to Bob there. Unfortunately, it happens right on the final lap, too, out of all this happening.
Mike Keck taking advantage of that, though. So you have Mike Keck as the leader of the GT5 class out there.
So Mike Keck able to come home as the GT5 winner as we'll go through the official results here. Brandon Collins, as we said, comes home with the GT1 victory. Tom Herb comes away with GT2 class win. Ron Roshinsky comes away with GT3. Charlie Margosian, as we saw that epic battle with him and Sean V in GT4, and Mike Keck able to take away the GT5 win, slipping it underneath Bob Norian here on the last lap. So as we figure out what happened with Bob Norian here as the safety vehicle was kind of taking its way and making its way over to Bob Norian's rescue here on the back straightaway, Ben, we talked a little bit about how this class racing and multi-class racing can benefit it. We're still not done. We got another race coming up with the Spec Miata series, and that's a little bit of a multi-class racing as well.
Yeah, so Spec Miata works a little bit differently. We do have 2 classes within that race, but they're actually the same type of cars. So you have SM1 and SM2. SM2 being kind of more the beginners, kind of people figuring things out there, and SM1 being kind of the top drivers in that field. But they're actually driving the same cars out there.
Yeah, and the way you can demonstrate or differentiate the two is they'll have a number 1 sticker on the windshield and the back windshield and a number 2 sticker on the front and back windshield. That's where you can differentiate what the classes are. But as we now have the safety team going to work and trying to recover the stranded number 89 of Bob Norian here on the back straightaway at turn number 5, you know, it's just it was an unfortunate circumstance for it to happen on the last lap, but it's part of the game of racing and what can happen here at the Autobahn.
Yeah, and some really cool shots today from our drone up there. So that's in our safety truck out there. So provided by Ron Terrapelli Ford out there.
But it also shows that we have a safety vehicle here at all times and everything ready to go, and just in case of an emergency is able to happen. So as we wrap up here at the GT Challenge, we get ready for Spec Miata. Please do not go anywhere on the stream. We got more racing action coming up next here from the Autobahn Country Club.
Lexus. our motto is. You have to feel it to believe it. Experience the exhilaration of the Lexus Performance line.
Define nature. It's what defines the all-new 2024 Corvette E-Ray. The quickest Corvette ever, with 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. An electrified all-wheel drive that handles all 4 seasons. A supercar of contrasts. It's everything you never expected. One like none.
We're here at the acclaimed Daytona International Speedway to show the Blazer EVSS in a way it's never been seen. It's beautiful with a sleek and dynamic design, but performance is in our DNA. And what better way to put the Blazer EVSS to the paces than having Team Chevy NASCAR drivers Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain get behind the wheel.
She looks fast.
Sure does.
You want to see what she's got?
Let's go.
All right. Yoo-hoo!
This is a Blazer EV SS. Let's see what Wild Mode can do.
Let's go. Yes! So much torque.
This is what performance sounds like.
What a ride. You think the Cup car will be that smooth? My turn to drive.
From 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. Experience the sound of performance.
Yeah, I was definitely faster than Daniel.
And welcome back here to the Audubon Country Club, where we just finished up our GT Challenge race. This is also past the halfway point of the season for the GT Challenge season. So now we have begun the second half of the season, and with the second half also becomes a Young Drivers Award that we like to also do towards the end of the season. So Ben, how about you tell us a little bit about our Young Drivers Award here at the Audubon?
Yeah, so if you're under the age 27 and you've been racing in our different race series, whether it's Spec Miata, GT, Cardian, and you've been working with an Audubon instructor, we got some great opportunities for you to get some ongoing instruction, as well as actually get an opportunity to bump up into another vehicle.
Yeah, with being said, let's go down to some of your maybe young drivers that are going to be in this series. And Kyle Nadu down at the podium, here to introduce them.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Audubon Country Club podium ceremony. Want to thank all of our race sponsors and a lovely day here at Audubon. We had a great race, some fierce competition out there. But let's kick things off, handing out some trophies. Starting off with GT5. In third place in GT5 goes to Mr. Brian Helmentoller. Now, Brian, come here. Come here, Brian. This was a hard-fought podium for you. I know you were really nervous about this race, but what was going through your mind?
Just finish. Please just finish.
All right, nice job. Wise words from an old racer, Mr. Brian Helmentoller. Get on up there. Give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And in second place in GT5 goes to none other than Mr. Bob Norian. And your first place winner in car number 691, Mike Keck. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big round of applause to your winners in the GT5 category. All right, let's continue with this party. In GT4, your third place winner in a brand new car goes to the 5'9" of Scott Benning. Scott, do you have a few words to say to all of your race fans?
If you want to go fast, slow down.
All right. Possibly some words of wisdom from his coach, Mr. Tony Kester. They've been working together for a number of years, and it's paying off with Scott being on the podium today. In second place, in another BMW, goes to Sean V. Congratulations, Sean. Congratulations, Sean. You got any words for your fans out there? All right, Sean's a man of many words, just not today. That means in GT4, your winner and current points champion, I believe, Charlie Margosian. Charlie, would you like to thank your sponsors?
Island Management's the best.
Excellent. There you go. You heard it from the man himself as he climbs atop the podium position for GT4.
All right, gonna sock it to me now.
All right. One more time, folks. Put your hands together for the GT4 class.
And the guitar shredders.
All right. Things started heating up as we go down this list. In GT3,
Number 960.
second place goes to Val. Congratulations, Val. Come on down. All right. And your winner in the GT3 class in car number 7 with the fastest lap time of 1 minute 6 seconds goes to Mr. Ron Rushinsky. Ron brought his entire cheering section with him, so thank you guys for coming out. Don't forget, if you want to catch all the racing action, you can like and subscribe to the Autobahn YouTube channel, and you can rewatch all of these races. All right, in GT2, fierce competition between these two drivers. Second place goes to Mr. Dick Ruck. All right. And just narrowly beating out his competition to take the top spot and the win for today. Car number 46, Mr. Thomas Herb. Now, Tom, you've been very influential with the Autobahn Driver Academy. What would you like to say? How has it helped you get on the podium today?
Oh, geez. I wouldn't be at the podium without the Academy. If anybody wants to figure out how to get a couple seconds off their lap time, definitely hang out at the Autobahn Academy. We've got the data, we got the video, we got the coaching, everything we need to get you faster.
Excellent. You heard it from the man himself, Mr. Tom Herb. So give a big round of applause to our GT2 drivers. All right, now for the fastest category in this race today, the ground pounders, the big V8s. Second place goes to that beautiful Corvette of Dan Gove. Yeah, there he is. Dan, do you have a few words to tell all of your fans?
Yeah, it's really hot today.
All right. Well, the faster you go, the better air conditioning you get. And obviously, you must have been pretty cool out there for the high speeds that you were reaching. All right, and now for the first place in that beautiful Porsche, car number 999, your winner, Mr. Brandon Collins. Now, Brandon's not only racing here at Autobahn Country Club, you're racing elsewhere as well. Why don't you tell all the fans here and the folks at home where else they can see you?
You can see me racing sometimes in SCCA, Super Tour, and some regional races.
All right, so you can race here at Autobahn, you can race elsewhere, but with all the seat time that Brandon's been getting, that allows him up on the podium. So, without further ado, head on up there. All right. For the final time in our GT Race Series, let's give a big round of applause to all of our participants, our winners, everybody here at Autobahn enjoying this beautiful day. Now, don't forget, stay tuned because we've got Spec Miata racing coming up right after this.
And thank you, Kyle, for the podium ceremony celebration down there in Victory Lane. We will come back to you when we are done with the Spec Miata race at the end of the day's times. But as well, we got some lull in the action in between races. Let's go ahead and take a time to thank some of our sponsors and corporate partners here at the Autobahn Country Club, Ben.
Yeah, so our Autobahn Performance Fleet sponsors, we have BMW, Chevy, Cadillac, Ron Terrapelli Ford, Lexus, and Porsche of Napleton. So great cars that you get to choose from, and actually how that touring session works is every day in the middle of the day, from 12:10 to 12:40 roughly, our members and members guests are actually available to actually check these vehicles out, go out, do some kind of lapping at lower speeds, no passing. So a great way to entertain guests, check out some new cars out there.
And Ben, how can people be able to sign up for this event, or how can people get involved with it?
So you can always sign up on the AutobahnMembers.com website or through the Autobahn app.
Absolutely, and you can also come in and talk to either Ben or Ron here at the Autobahn Country Club, Ron Davish that is, to kind of get yourself signed up to be a part of the touring session and get involved with touring and driving one of our fleet cars. Also want to thank some of our other sponsors as well, of Chicago Water and Fire Restoration over there in turn number 1. And we also have some ad space available for any partners and companies who want to get involved as well with sponsoring some corners or part of the Autobahn Country Club.
Another great thing, so we talked about our Autobahn Performance Fleet. We do also have golf carts available for rent. So we have 2 golf carts available to rent at any given time as we kind of take a peek at the top of one of those sitting in front of our Autobahn Driver Academy and Track Operation office. So a lot of different vehicles that you can actually use out at the track, along with our Autobahn Driver Academy cars as well. So we have 2 Spec Miatas available for rent, as well as 2 BMW E46 race cars available to rent for our driving programs. If you have some guests coming out to the track, you can actually rent those for yourself as well or for a guest. So really great opportunities out here.
And not only that, but some of the programs that the Autobahn Driver Academy also does offer. We have our own at beginning levels of like an Autobahn Sprint program to very novice guys who are interested or just want to come have some fun out here. We also have like our solo performance drive and our performance drive fleet out here for the Autobahn Driver Academy as well. So a couple of good programs to kind of get involved with and improve your skill and take your skills out here at the Autobahn to the next level.
Yeah, and always feel free to reach out to Jordan or myself for some private coaching as well. Do a lot of video data review out there. So if you really want to improve, keep moving up through the field, that's the best way to do it.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Coaching is probably the best way to do it. And I've heard that from a lot of feedback from a lot of our clients and a lot of our members out here today, saying that they want to take their skills up to the next level. Better get your butt in the coaching room, because that's how you make yourself a little bit better driver.
Cool look around the paddock here. We do have Sport Bike Track Time out with us today, so a lot of action in the paddocks. Always cool events going on out at the Country Club here.
Yeah, and if you want to know what else is happening out here at the Country Club at the Autobahn as well, be sure to download the Autobahn app and make your life at the club a lot easier. You can find track schedules as well as lap times, RSVP for social events that are out here at the club, make your lunchtime touring reservations like we talked about earlier, and much, much more. All you can do that with the resources just a click away on the Autobahn app.
And if you're really looking to avoid traffic on your way out here, we do have 2 new helipad landing spots up by registration. So really cuts your time down. It's actually a 14-minute commute from the city all the way down to here. So I've actually gotten to do that once. Definitely save some time for you.
14 minutes compared to 45 minutes to an hour. I'll take that bet every day.
Yeah, and we're actually sponsored by Bell Helicopter. So if you are in the market for a really nice helicopter, be sure to talk to them on some of our festival weekends. They'll actually be back out here Oktoberfest weekend, offering some rides and kind of giving some information about those as well.
And while we also have Sport Bike Track Time out here this weekend, we just want to let you know that Autobahn's next motorcycle sessions that will be taking place here at the Autobahn Country Club will be on August 25th. So don't miss your chance to take your bike out on the track this month and have some fun on your 2 wheels instead of 4. Another thing, too, is that new Autobahn apparel is available here at the Autobahn Country Club. You can visit the Clubhouse Lounge for our new selection of Autobahn gear, or ask any member of the Autobahn team in the clubhouse for an additional size or inventory if you want to start showing off some Autobahn swag around the club. As we look at a beautiful shot here of a very filled and busy paddock here at the Autobahn Country Club. Starting to see some Spec Miatas make their way to the grid as we get ready for the Spec Miata portion of this race. We're about 5 minutes away from the start of that race. Again, 5 minutes away from the start of the Spec Miata race.
So what are you thinking about 5 minutes out, Jordan, when you're going to your races?
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of sitting in the cockpit right now of the car. Everyone's kind of starting to make their way to the grid. Once you kind of get there, you kind of just make sure everything's ready to go. Belts are tight. Everything, all safety gear is ready to go. You're kind of in the zone a little bit. You start to get comfy in the seat, and then you kind of start to clear your mind a little bit. Start envisioning what the start's going to be like. Start thinking about who you're going to be around, what could potentially happen, how is this all going to play out. But mainly, you're just going to start clearing your head a little bit, clearing your mind, thinking about what's going to happen going forward, and get ready to go racing, as everything's going to happen a lot quicker once the green flag flies.
And we have our on-car camera here with Greg Sorg today.
He is just pulling out of the Autobahn garage now and making his way towards the grid. So nice to know that he's going to be here on time and making his way to the grid for today's race. So here comes our in-car camera and featured driver for today.
Will this be the first pass he makes of the day? Oh, we cut off a little early there.
Nope. We're always characters here at the Autobahn, but you got to love it. And that's the one thing about this Autobahn Country Club place, is that you meet a lot of new people, a lot of different characters, but you all have the very same passion for racing and passion for cars. And you don't get that anywhere else other than a country club here at Autobahn.
Yeah, great group of people here. As he pulls down the access road, kind of really cool shots here. Actually seeing him get to drive around the paddock as well. Kind of get to see, what are you doing before a race, getting ready.
Let's hope he makes his way to the track here and knows his way to go instead of going to get fuel here. But we'll see. It's interesting where you could probably take us. We're on like a little adventure here, it feels like. You can see all the different bikes that we have here for Sport Bike Track Time here as they rent out the South Track for this weekend's activities. They've been able to kind of be here, a great partner and a great foundation for Sport Bike Track Time in partnership with us here at the Autobahn Country Club. So we always love having them out here, and they're always a good time to be hanging out with us.
And you can see we actually expanded the paddock there. That's a great shot of that as well. So it keeps the bikes off the road, keeps things safer.
Adds a little bit of a walking path here too, as we now have been able to kind of make it more pedestrian friendly and not having cars so close to the road all the time.
Hopefully everybody's stopping at the stop signs here in this video.
Give us a wave if you're walking down the paddock here.
And Brandon Collins pulling up post GT race there.
Jumping from his GT car into a Spec Miata, and he's now works his way towards the paddock to start and get into the grid. As we look at going ahead through the top 10 of what the day's order is going to be like. So Matt Alexander is on the pole for the race. Brandon Collins will line up P2 alongside him on his right side. Matt Keck will be third. Taro Kishida running in fourth. Alex Bertinoli will roll off fifth. Ethan Tyler sixth. Tom Bagley seventh. Greg Sorg, our in-car driver, will be eighth. Jake Malter will be ninth, and Dave Hicks will round out the top 10 for today's activities.
SM2 on the front row, we have Mark Stadolski starting on the front next to Luke Satterfield. His son, Steve Stadolski, actually starting right behind him next to Matteo Azzari. Kevin Loffridge, followed up by Bob Grosslack, followed by Jack Kobus, Chris DeMuzio, who actually lost an axle during qualifying, but already getting back out there. Bill Hamill, and then Emmett Ryan to round out the top 10.
So as the grid continues to form up, Brandon Collins and Bill Hamill now making their way, finding their selected spots before they are told to get this field rolling and get the engines fired to get this race underway.
It will be a split start out there, so that SM1 and SM2 will have a split start. So you'll see a little bit of a gap between them as they come down to the green flag. So expect them to kind of start to make that gap, kind of coming around 6, 7. You'll start to see them space out a little bit. And something interesting about that is that it kind of puts that second field a little bit further back. So will the faster guys catch up to those back markers out there? It's something you're going to have to watch for.
Yeah, we're looking for around, I would say, roughly around 32 cars today, I'd say, probably in this field. So pretty good field. Actually, about 28 cars is going to be out here today. So a pretty good sized field for coming just off a couple races ago with Festival Speed being just a short 2 weeks ago. And as we go into this race, too, the biggest thing as well as we head into this track, it being 1.46 miles, we got 27 cars in this field. And this is going to be on a 1.46 mile track, and especially with the split start, it's going to play a little bit of lap traffic into play and how this race is going to pan out. So the leaders are probably going to have to negotiate some lap traffic as we get later on into the end of this race.
Yeah, and hopefully, we'll see what happens out there. Hopefully we don't see it again after these first couple laps, our Lexus pace car out there. But is that going to play into it at all?
Yeah, that can always come into play as well, as we have no idea when that could come out at the portion of this race. But we will always see as we get ready for race 8 of the Autobahn Spec Miata series. Ethan Tyler now filing into his starting spot. He'll roll off on the 6th spot here, as we are now 1 minute away from rolling off onto the field to get this race underway.
And you can see everybody kind of has a little bit of a different ritual out there. So we just saw Matt Alexander just closing his door, maybe just getting strapped in with 1 minute to go.
Yeah, everyone sometimes goes all the way to the last minute here trying to get themselves prepped up, ready to go. Some people like to get to the grid maybe 5 minutes early, relax a little bit, make sure they're safe. Others want to get there as a last-minute ditch effort just to kind of make sure they're ready and they're ready to go for the race.
A little bit hot in there, too. You can see some people cooling off. So hopefully these guys stay hydrated out there.
Very hot in these cars. They can excite up to temperatures around 120 degrees inside these cars on a very hot day. And especially as the brakes start to get more heat into it, those footwells will get even hotter, and it gets hot on the driver's feet as this race goes on.
Another interesting one that could come into play is that number 14 car, Alex Bertinoli. Doesn't race in all the races out here, but he races in Spec MX5 series as well, so will he have anything to say in this race?
Just came off a weekend, actually, just up in Road America this past couple weekends ago. So, he's been able to do the SCCA June sprints up there, has been doing a bunch of racing. He's got about 3 races coming up here shortly. We're going to race him down Daytona, I think, next week. Then he's going down to Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama. And then he's rounding off his year, I think, at Sebring down in Florida.
As we ride along with Greg Sorg, that was that spray-painted car that we just saw an exterior shot of. So we'll ride along with him as we pull out onto the track. Drivers getting to see which side they're going to be on as they pull out here.
And this is a good ritual that Audubon does here to kind of just show everyone where they're going to be lining up on the grid, whether you're going to be on the left-hand side or right-hand side. You see who you're going to be starting up alongside. You see who you're going to be starting behind, who you're going to be starting in front of. So it just gives you an idea for when we had to double up and get ready to go racing, who you're going to be starting alongside. As we get the grid shot from the drone of the whole beautiful field as they now roll off pit road, we get ready to go racing for race number 8 of the Audubon Spec Miata series.
Yeah, and you can actually see it too that Matt really decided that he wants the inside of that second turn there. So he didn't take the inside of turn 1. He's taking the inside of turn 2. That's where he thinks he's going to have the best shot at making a move and kind of staying in the lead there.
So this makes it interesting because if Brandon Collins can get the jump, he can almost lead the way into turn number 1, could potentially cross over in front of Matt Alexander as they go through turn number 1 and get into turn number 2, giving him the advantage. But Matt Alexander hoping he can fire off well, hold the outside on Brandon Collins, and be able to hold it through turn number 2 and hopefully turn number 3. So as the field now starts to roll off, let's go ahead and take our way through the grid and go through this whole field of Spec Miata drivers, both in SM1 and SM2. Rolling off first on the pole sitter would be the number 157 of Matt Alexander. He had the fastest time of 1 minute 12 seconds, .042. Was able to snatch the pole from 5 thousandths of a second over Brandon Collins in the number 144 with a 1 minute 12 second .047 for P2. That is your front row of Matt Alexander, Brandon Collins. Row number 2 will be the 01 of Matt Keck and the 60 of Taro Kashida lining up in 4th. Row number 3 will be the number 14 of Alex Bertignoli and the 08 of Ethan Tyler to his right side. Row number 4 will be the number 3 of Tom Bagley and our onboard shot right here of the number 71 of Greg Sword. Row number 5 in the number 9 spot will be the 69 of Jake Malter and the number 10 of Dave Hicks.
And heading back into SM2, we have in first Mark Stadolski, second Luke Satterfield, followed by third Steve Stadolski. Starting in 4th will be Matteo Azzari, 5th Kevin Loffridge, 6th Bob Groslack, 7th Jack Kobus, 8th Chris DeMuzio, 9th Bill Hamill, 10th Emmett Ryan, 11th Alan Zoker, and in 12th place Adam Lavelle. We actually do have 4 rookies this season in that SM2 class as well.
Yeah, Kevin Lockridge being one of them, Jake Kobus, Chris DeMuzio, and Alan Zolcher also being the rookies. We're also pointing out Mike Bernardi starting in 11th, Scott Bowman in the 12th spot, Art Zeismer 13th, Scott Ballard in the 14th, and then Jim Dvorak, who had a little bit of a transponder issue in qualifying, will roll off 15th in Spec Miata. So the field right now on the first of 2 pace laps, coming to the end of that first of 2 pace laps, going to get the one to go signal from the flagman up in the flag stand. Field right now in synchronized form, basically weaving back and forth, looked like a little bit like everyone was on the same page of what we're doing here, but weaving back and forth, trying to get all the rubber off their tires, also trying to give it some throttle, give it some brake, to get some heat and temperature in the tires, all a part of the warm-up process here on the warm-up lap to get their tires up to optimal temperature and to the highest temperature possible, getting ready to go green.
Yeah, and you can see different drivers do that, other ones don't. It looked like Brandon Collins was just focused on the car in front of him there. He was not swerving back and forth. He's thinking about what's in front of him, how he's going to get down into that first turn.
Well, everyone always makes the argument on you weave back and forth to warm your tires up. You really don't in this case. I'd say you weave back and forth to really clean your tires off. You really warm your tires off through throttling and braking, and through the brake temperatures of the rotors itself is what gets the heat from the brake temperature from the brake rotors into the tire itself, and that's really where you get your heat from in the brakes. But most of the drivers weave back and forth just to clean the marbles and clean the tires off, and as we get ready to go green this time by. Field's starting to double up now as they head on the back straightaway from turns 5 to turn 6. The front row of Matt Alexander and Brandon Collins starting to get the field organized as we've now see the field start to do the separation for the split start between Spec Miata and SM2.
Pace car's going to pull ahead here, pull into the pits. Oh, now Brandon's deciding to warm up his tires, get some marbles off there.
Just a little bit of last minute weave in here just to get his tires, make sure they're fully clean and ready to go for the start. Field already looking very nicely organized in a 2x2 fashion. Really well. Good job by all the Spec Miata guys to get themselves all sorted. Pace car now will pull away as the field organizedly 2x2 comes around turn number 7, ready to go for the start of this race.
Nice tight spacing there. A little bit of a gap from Tom Bagley there. We'll see if he catches back up, closes that gap a bit.
Matt Alexander now will start to speed the field up as we get off the final corner here. We'll slow him back down, conjunction back up again as the field now 2 by 2 rolls to the start and the attention of the starter stand. Field is now in Matt Alexander's hands as he starts to start rolling, get some momentum, and the green flag is out, and we are underway here at the Audubon. Brandon Collins with a nice jump, a huge...
A little bit of a tap there. I think we had a little bit of front-to-back contact there. 3 wide through 1.
Brandon Collins got
almost 4 wide through 2.
Brandon Collins got a huge shove from Taro Kashida, and here we go with the SM2 field. Green flag is out. Mateo's are already pulling out to make it 3 wide.
3, 4 wide almost through turn 1. Everybody clean. Back to 2 wide for turn 2.
Stadolski going to get away well. Luke Satterfield goes to second. Mateo is already trying to fight his way to second, but he's going side by side with Steve Stadolski as back up front in the Spec Miata field. It is Brandon Collins with the lead. Taro Kashida second. Matt Alexander trying to get a little sideways off of turn 4. Tries to go to the inside. Further back, it's going to be Greg Zor looking to the inside of Matt Keck.
Doesn't pull it quite off there. A little bit of a delay, but that gave us a chance to actually see inside the car there.
Greg Zorg, we're on board with right now, running in the 6th spot. You got Matt Keck in front of him, Ethan Tyler in front of him, and I believe that is Alex Bertignoli right behind him in the 7th spot.
Keck there.
Keck goes a little bit wide. Now Greg Zorg falls back in line, looks right in the tire tracks of Matt Keck. Zorg gets a little out of shape here on the final corner as they come off the last turn to complete the first lap of 20.
And you can see Taro right on Brandon Collins there.
Top 3 are now starting to pull away. It's Brandon Collins in the lead. Taro Kashida in second. Matt Alexander running in third. Taro goes a little bit of a defensive line on Matt Alexander. He goes a little wide. Zorg does the same thing as the field now follows through turn number 1. Clean and green so far through the whole first lap.
As back to SM2 here. Everybody kind of nice and clean through here. Kevin Loffridge taking the inside, but now he's got the outside of turn 2 here.
Got Emmett Ryan there where he was side-by-side battle with. He gives the spot to Emmett Ryan. He moves up to the 6th spot now in SM2.
Man, Matt Alexander all over the back of Taro this time by.
Taro was trying to think about maybe going a little defensive there, thought better of it. Matt Alexander kind of rides in the tire tracks, gets a little bit out of shape. Now he'll push Taro Kashida, trying to go catch the back bumper of the 144, Brandon Collins. Now we look further back here. I would say the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. That's Ethan Tyler in the 0801 of Matt Keck, 671 of Greg Zorg, and the 14 of Alex Bertignoli. That is the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th there as they now come on the main straightaway. Matt Keck going to get a little bit of a draft here from the 08 of Ethan Tyler as they go down the straightaway. Greg Zorg on board with now. You can see Matt Keck trying to get a little bit of a draft. Takes a peek to the inside, trying to fill the mirrors up of the 08 of Ethan Tyler. Just kind of holds in line right now. Zorg does the same thing, gets right up to the back bumper of Matt Keck as they go through turn number 1 and 2.
You can see Matt Alexander using all the track available to him here. He's really trying to push, gain back that first place position.
A little bit further back, it looks like Mike Bernardi trying to go to the inside. We got a battle for the lead in SM2. That's Luke Satterfield who just went to the inside. Take a 2-for-1, I would say. Luke Satterfield to the inside of Mark Stadolski. Now side by side with Mateo Azzari, and then also throw into the mix. You have Steve Stadolski in that mix as well.
Side by side, a lot of red cars out there. A little bit confusing on which one's which.
I think that's Luke Satterfield in the front, Mateo Azzari second, Mark Stadolski third, Rob Groslick, I think, in the 4th spot, and then you got Steve Stadolski in 5th, as now Steve Stadolski looks to the inside of Rob Groslick going into turn number 6. Stadolski looking to the inside. Actually, that's, I think, Stadolski on the outside. It's the other way around there. So many red cars, you can't tell what's the difference.
Oh, look at how close.
Oh, they're rubbing doors. Rubbing doors here on the front from turn 6 to turn 7.
This is an extremely competitive place. A little bit of a lock up there.
He's in the grass a little bit. He's around.
He's going to be clear there, so everybody's going to get by. An unfortunate series of events there for Bob Grosslack.
Just got 2 tires into the grass there, locked up the left front tire, and when you get 2 tires into the grass there and add a little bit of wheel input, it unfortunately will just suck you around faster than you can think about it. He'll fall back into the clutches of Kevin Lockridge as well, so Lockridge now has someone to kind of battle with. We'll think about it and try to go for another position.
SM2, last time we were coming through these turns, these guys were all over each other, but all that battling, they really spaced out quite a bit.
Absolutely, and everything's kind of spaced out between each other. We had Emmett Ryan, the 81, kind of go a little wide there. I think that's Jake Kobus now going to the inside of him. He'll get that spot. And then you got Christian Muzio and Alan Zolcher. 2 rookies are battling with each other right now on track, right in front of Bill Hamill.
Just in front of them, we have Jack Kobus and Emmett Ryan battling it out.
Zolcher now looking to the inside of Chris DiMuzio again. DiMuzio going to run the outside. Zolcher going to be on the inside in that yellow number 1. He'll look to the inside of turn number 6. Give the spot to Alan Zolcher as they go through turn number 6.
But Alan a little bit slow out of 6 there. Chris trying to figure out which way he wants to take it. He's going to go for the inside going into 7 here.
Here comes Bill Hamill. Add him to the fray of party here of 3 as they go into turn number 7. Chris DiMuzio looking to the inside of Alan Zolcher. They go through. Zolcher goes through. Bill Hamill makes his pass on Chris Zolcher on the outside going through turn number 7.
Yeah, and Bill went through that program with us yesterday and really gained a lot of time and kind of he's progressing quite a bit out there. So it's good to see him get kind of in this mix, having some good battles out there.
I think he was quite happy with the progression he's been able to show himself as well as how he's been able to kind of handle this more. Right now, he's trying to use everything that he learned yesterday into this battle and use it to his arsenal. He's now on the back bumper of Alan Zolcher here, trying to really stick with him. Zolcher will just pull away here on the straightaway, but Bill Hamill will try to reel him back in as we move back to SM1.
Ethan Tyler on the inside of Keck here.
Going defensive line as Keck looks to the outside. Keck's going to try to roll it. So give the spot to Ethan Tyler right now. He holds on to the 4th spot. Keck's still right in the tire tracks. They've kind of pulled away from number 71 of Greg Sorg and number 14 of Alex Bertinolis. We're going to go side by side down the front straightaway.
Yeah, and Ethan had to take a little bit of a tighter line into turn 8 there, so he lost some time. So Keck's really pulling on him down this straight.
Keck now takes the position over Ethan Tyler into turn number 1. Also, side-by-side battle behind them between Greg Zorg and Alex Bertinoli. Zorg's going to lose it!
Off, and it looks like he is going to make contact with the wall there.
Zorg into the wall on the driver's left-hand side in turn number 1. Keeps it rolling, though. Gets it back going. On board with him. Unfortunately, we were going to get on board at the shot right as he hit the wall. But nonetheless, he's able to continue going. We'll just have to see if that car is still able to be functional or if it's got any more mechanical damage.
Jim Dvorak on the inside of him here, so it's going to take him some time. If he's going to keep going, he's got a lot of dirt on his tires. He's going to have to kind of get all of that off, get back up to speed here.
I'm not seeing any smoke right now coming out of the back of that 71 car, so that's a good sign for now. As of now, he has a little bit of smoke as he makes right-hand turns going through turn number 5, but I will say it was just the curbing that he got on for turn number 1 is what made him lose the back end of the number 71 car. Had the correction, locked the car down to try to save it. Unfortunately, he just ran out of road.
And it does look like, do you see a little bit of smoke there? I might have seen a puff of smoke, so I think he's going to pull off here.
I think he has a little bit of a right rear tire rub or a left rear tire rub as he made contact with the left side of that car. Maybe a left rear tire rub that he has when he goes through right-hand corners with that body panel of the Greg Zorg 71 machine. He continues to stay out on track. Let's see if he's going to be a trooper and go all the way through. Meanwhile, the SM2 battle is actually continuing to go on as Greg Zorg does have some smoke coming out of the left rear side of that car.
Yeah, and it looked like his bumper was a little bit loose after hitting that wall there, so could be the bumper dragging, could be the wheel rubbing.
Yeah, as they go into one right now, we got the SM2 battle of Luke Satterfield and Matteo Azzari battling now, this heating up. And these are two young drivers who are battling against each other. Really good drivers as well. Luke Satterfield has come into his own, but Matteo Azzari, who was able to get his first win earlier this year, has really shown his own and has shown his wealth in this second half of the season.
Yeah, and Matteo is also a member of the Autobahn Driver Academy, so he put in a lot of work last year, and actually this year he's actually moving into travel racing as well. So he's had some good racing at Road America and kind of getting around, seeing some different tracks as well.
Matteo is already putting himself in his name into the hat of a Young Driver Academy Award winner potentially this year. We'll see how it happens. He continues to impress the rest of the Autobahn staff here. But Matteo Azzari now continuing to keep the pressure on Luke Satterfield as they come off turn 6, heading towards turn number 7. He'll stay in the tire tracks, but remember they got the wounded car of Greg Zorg right in front of them.
Yeah, and it looks like any time that he's making a right-hand turn, whatever load that he's putting into the car, that's where he's getting that smoking. So hopefully that back tire stays up.
As we continue on, we can see the back end of the SM field. It's Jim Dvorak right there in the number 39 blue car. Greg Sorg comes by. Then you got the SM2 battle between Luke Satterfield and Matteo Azzari. And then a little bit further back behind them is the battle for the third spot. That's Steve Stadolski and Mark Stadolski. You got the Stadolski family reunion back there.
Yep. Some good battle all the way kind of towards the back here, too, it looks like.
That is the battle towards the back there, and that looks like it's going to be around Adam Lavelle, Bob Groslick, and Kevin Lockridge, two guys who have kind of had a little bit of trouble there, both Bob Groslick and Kevin Lockridge having a little bit of trouble earlier this race. If we move back up forward towards the back end of the SM1 battle, The front 7 or 8 have kind of strung out a little bit, but let's look a little bit further back towards the end of the top 10 area. And then you look at Jake Malter there in that 69. Scott Ballard in a 190, Tom Bagley in the 3, Mike Bernardi in the 8 car there, who picked up a spot actually this last time by. Mike Bernardi now moves himself up into the 9th position. Kevin Ballard, Dave Hicks, and Art Zeismer and Scott Bowman are also in that battle as well. As we come through now to turn number 1, Scott Ballard going to take a defensive line here on Mike Bernardi. Bernardi going to try to roll the outside a little bit of a lockup there between Art Zeismer. As we got going into the corner now, turn number 1. This is a side-by-side battle between Greg Sorg and Jim Dvorak. Sorg gets the spot. Dvorak on his bumper, though. Give the spot to Sorg as he gets a little loose. He's off again. Driver's left here at the exit of turn number 2. And now Jim Dvorak going to try to holds on to the car, stays on with it, but Jim Dvorak was almost getting another opportunity of chance to be able to pounce on the Greg Zorg. I think it was just a little bit of another curbing incident of too much apex from Greg Zorg that's getting the rear end to get a little snappy on him.
Yeah, and those SM2 guys are catching these guys up here. So, you know, the top guys of SM1, they might be catching the back of SM2 guys, but these SM2 guys, they're catching the back of the SM1 field.
Yeah, right now Greg Sorg is just trying to do as much as he can to keep that rear end stabilized. Right now he thinks it's just a disconnected rear end compared to what he's been feeling normally. But right now, as we look ahead, almost back up towards the SM field, it's been Brandon Collins continuing to lead the way, over 0.8 of a second over Taro Kishida. Then you got Matt Alexander running in 3rd, Matt Keck in 4th, Alex Bertinelli 5th, Jake Malter 6th, Scott Ballard in 7th, Mike Bernardi 8th, Ethan Tyler 9th, and Todd Bagley rounds out the top 10. As we got a battle now further back, Ethan Tyler is kind of falling back a little bit here.
Yeah, and we'll see if he can pick up some more speed. Those two guys in front of him, Ballard, Bernardi, they're really trying to battle it out a little bit, so what is Ethan going to be able to take advantage of here?
Something must have happened to Ethan Tyler there as he lost now 6 seconds that last lap.
Bernardi runs really wide.
Bernardi a little wide, but Ethan Tyler lost 6 seconds that last lap, lost 4 spots on the track, went from 5th to 9th that last lap here. So Ethan Tyler trying his best to now regain his composure, get himself back up in the field as we got the battle now from Scott Ballard. That's 7th, basically all the way to 14th here at the end of this train.
Everybody running a little bit wide. That track is just really greasy out there this week.
Either it's that or everyone's just using every inch of it as much as they can. As we got a side-by-side battle going into turn number 7. That was between the number 8 of Mike Bernardi and the number 190 of Scott Ballard. I believe give the spot to Mike Bernardi as they come through turn number 7 and turn number 8. As we look back more up front, that's the battle for the lead between Brandon Collins, Taro Kushida, and Matt Alexander. Matt Alexander just threw in the fastest lap of the race, so add his name to the hat of winners for here.
And Bernardi and Ballard side by side right now.
Going into turn number 1, Bernardi on the inside, Ballard on the outside. Bernardi going to hold the spot as they come in, give the spot to Bernardi, as well as Ethan Tyler trying to pounce all over the back of Scott Ballard. Bernardi still continuing to be defensive as they go into turn number 3. He'll continue to hold the spot, but it's just bringing Ethan Tyler back in.
The inside. Is he going to take 2 spots here or 1?
He's going to get to the inside of Scott Ballard. Try to shove Ballard a little wide here to get through the corner, but get the spot to Ethan Tyler. He's through to the number 6 to the number 7 spot. Now Tom Bagley looking to the inside of Ballard. Does Tom Bagley go for it? He does. He drives it in deep. It's hard on the brakes. Bagley is now through Scott Ballard. Scott Ballard is losing his momentum here as now he's got another family member.
car.
Here comes Kevin Ballard to the inside. It's like a go-kart race. He just got shoved on the line. He's losing spots left and right. Kevin Ballard going to go to the inside, going to hold Scott Ballard to the outside now. Here comes Dave Hicks to the list. Does Dave Hicks get a run on Ballard? He checks up a little bit. A little coordinated effect back there between Hicks, Art Zeismer, and Scott Ballard. As now we come off the final corner, Hicks now going to set his sights. Does he get a run to be able to get a run on Scott Ballard? He's
going for the inside of turn 1 here.
Takes a peek to the inside. Is he able to make it stick? Is he able to make it work? He thinks better of it. We'll think again. And we'll tuck back in line. Does he look to the inside now of Scott Ballard? Ballard drives it in really deep. No, the door gets shut on him. David Hicks going to have to hold off now. And now he looks in his mirror and plays defensively on Art Zeismer. And now here comes Ethan Tyler again.
Ethan Tyler got around Bernardi there.
He did the exact same move that he did on Scott Ballard there as Ethan Tyler now moves up another spot. Move him now to the 7th position on Mike Bernardi.
Mike Bernardi has something to say about that, though. He's looking to the inside of 6, tucks back in, He's going to wait to make that move.
Thinks better of it. Now close back in line. So you got the battle of the 8 and the 0-8s between Ethan Tyler and Mike Bernardi. Bernardi now gets another run. Will tuck into the tire tracks of Ethan Tyler. Thinks about a move if he can. He'll pick a peek to the inside. Just fill the mirrors up. Get Ethan Tyler looking. And Ethan Tyler will hold on to the spot. But we're back up front. Battle for the lead here between the 144 Brandon Collins, the 60 Taro Kishida, and the 157 of Matt Alexander.
As they come around to the halfway mark of this race here. So just kind of run it out in front. All these guys, a lot of experience here. Just pulling away, kind of waiting for their right moment.
All three of these guys all within a tenth of a second of their fastest laps throughout the whole day. Matt Alexander continues to hold the fastest lap here as Ethan Tyler has now got passed again by Mike Bernardi on the front straightaway here. So Bernardi and Ethan Tyler just going back and forth, trading positions here. Will Ethan Tyler be able to pull the same move that he just did on Mike Bernardi again here to turn number 3? The answer, no.
And those SM2 guys, they're catching up to Jim Dvorak here, so they're going to have to wait, try and find the right moment to make these passes. And it looks like both of them are going to get by here. We'll watch them go into turn 3.
Luke Satterfield able to go around the outside of Jim Dvorak through the corner of turn number 2. But meanwhile, Matteo Azzari thought he could do the switchback on him. He tried it, was able to succeed it in turn number 3. But now you got the number 89 of Bob Grosselek, the 84 of Steve Stodolski goes on to the back of Jim Dvorak to try to get into this fight for the lead in the SM2. Steve Stodolski now going to the inside of the 39 of Jim Dvorak. Will make that pass work, and now he sets his sights on the 2 leaders in front of him. One is way off.
Far off here. The 83 there of Mark Stodolski.
Taps the wall.
Out. We'll see if he can get it going again here.
He taps the wall a little bit, and doesn't look like it's much rear damage. Able to get the car fired and rolling again, so we are going to be able to potentially stay green here if he can keep it going. One car off as well. That's Kevin Lockridge at the number 4.
Oh, and we got a loose tail light on that car as well, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Does have a loose taillight there. Mark Stodolski able to keep the car rolling there, so he'll be able to keep the grace. Looks like under green for now.
We got to wonder, with back-to-back cars kind of sliding off, is there something on the surface down there?
It's very interesting for sure. As we got the battle for the lead, Luke Satterfield took a defensive line of Matteo Azzari. Azzari was able to roll more speed through the middle of that corner of turn number 2. Now looks onto the back bumper of Luke Satterfield. You could tell from this drone shot, it's a really good view just to kind of see who's breaking and closing the gap up versus when they're pulling away from each other. So right now, in lockstep formation between the number 13 of Luke Satterfield and number 10 of Matteo Azzari.
Back down to coming out of turn 2 here. We got some of the back markers still battling it out as the front guys from SM1 are going to catch up to them. So is this going to play any role here?
So this is what we talked about earlier in the race about having lap traffic potentially coming to play. We're just a little bit past halfway here. 8 laps to go for our leaders. You got the 144 Brandon Collins continuing to lead the way, but you now they got the back half of SM2 traffic that they're going to have to negotiate with in the next couple of laps here. And you can add the number 83 of Mark Stodolski to that list as well.
Yeah, you can tell that Matt Alexander is hungry and he is waiting for that right moment to make these passes on these guys. So is he going to be able to pull it off? Is this traffic going to help him?
Well, you also got to take into consideration, too, here, Ben, that these 3 are probably the top 3 in the championship right now, battle running for this year. So it comes down to championship points here. As we were talking about in the drivers' meeting, we were just a little bit past halfway here in the Spec Miata season. Out of the 14 races that you get of the season, only 10 of them are counting towards your point total. You get 4 drops throughout the year. So when you look at it from this standpoint, you know, which races are going to be your drops, which races are going to be races that you're going to be counting towards your championship. All these positions potentially count. Yes, you're running for a podium here and running for the race win, but you know, a race win versus the third place podium spot can mean 20 points difference at the end of the year's championship battle.
Yeah, and Brandon Collins, he might be the young guy out of these 2, almost half the age of the 2 drivers behind him. But he's also on his 2nd race of the day, so it's a pretty long Spec Miata race here that we have going on. You know, is he going to start getting a little bit tired towards the end of this race?
This is the battle a little bit further back here. You got Kevin Ballard in the 101, Scott Ballard in the 190, who got a shove from the Art Zeismer in the 15, the 26 of Scott Bowman, and then the 25 of Dave Hicks behind them. This is the battle for the top 10 through 14th. Or 10 through 14th we are seeing here on the screen.
Yeah, and it looks like Ethan Tyler and Mike Bernardi, they kind of checked out of this little group. They were part of this pack, but they're putting some distance between themselves. So they're running a little bit safer, going through turn 5 now, coming down into 6.
Yeah, and Tom Bagley's trying to join them as well. He's trying to get away from the fray behind him, as you could say. He's now out by himself trying to lock some laps and put it on some fast laps as he can. But these guys right now are single file formation, kind of pushing each other, and that's going to allow them to potentially catch back up to Tom Bagley unless they start battling each other here. So we'll see as they come down through turn number 6 and turn number 7. Right now we got Scott Ballard right now holding on to the back end of Kevin Ballard, but you got the 15 of Art Zeismer kind of hanging with them. If Art can get to the back of Scott Ballard and push him up to Kevin Ballard, this can start some battling here. But now you got a big run from Scott Bowman coming to the back of Art Zeismer.
And the leader's catching the back of the pack there. So Brandon Collins taking the inside of turn 4. Nice clean pass. Looks like Taro and Matt going to get by as well.
That a little bit of breathing room here is now you start to see some of the guys get out of the way and seeing the leaders coming on through. Right now, Taro and Matt Alexander trying to work together to not let Brandon Collins get too far away here, but they're hoping the lap traffic that's a little bit ahead of them can work to their advantage to reel him back in.
Yeah, and that was some really nice race etiquette by Alan Zucker there. So you can tell he's watching for flags. He probably got the blue flag there and kind of pulled off to the side, let those leaders go through. So he knows they, let's not mess up these top guys' race.
And now we look a little bit further back. This is the battle for SM2 here as Luke Satterfield has kind of pulled a little bit away from Matteo Azzari, has built a little bit of a buffer or a gap, and now Matteo Azzari is kind of falling back into the clutches of Steve Stadolski here. Stadolski all over the back bumper of Matteo Azzari, trying to see what he can do to maybe get by for a second place finish.
Nice and smooth as looks like Steve's looking for a little bit of a pull coming out of the turn there. He's going to stay behind, maybe get this pass done on the front straight here. He is all over the back of Matteo, though.
He's just trying to set it up right now, Matteo, trying to look in his mirrors right now. He's driving more out of his mirrors than he is out of the front windshield as Stadolski gets a pretty decent run out of the final corner here. Will he be able to pull up to the back bumper, or is he going to push Matteo, or is he going to go for the move and make the pass? Matteo, taking a little bit of a defensive line, will now move kind of more to the driver's side line, but Steve Stadolski...
I'll have to leave some room on the outside of one here. Nope, tucks back in. Steve Stadolski looking to the outside here. He could get a good run coming out of 2.
He tried to look for a little bit of over-under move potentially, but it's not going to work as Matteo Azzari now continues to hold the second spot as they move to turn number 3. But this is all allowing Luke Satterfield, the race leader in SM2, to kind of pull away a little bit.
A little bit of a slide from Luke there, though. So you got all these guys' tires. They're getting hot. They've been out there for a while, and just driver degradation too as well. So getting tired out there. Steve looks to the inside of Matteo here and looks like he's going to hold it there.
As now Steve goes to the inside, will make it to the inside pass of Matteo Azzari as they come through turn number 3. So move Steve Stadolski up to the next spot. He'll go to the second spot. Matteo Azzari will drop it back to third as the leaders right now.
Matteo looking back to the inside here.
Taking a peek.
Doesn't quite have it. And so, if Steve Stadolski can hold on here, is he going to be able to catch up to Luke Satterfield?
They're going to have to kind of work their way up to get to the front of the field if they can, because Luke Satterfield has kind of pulled himself a little bit of a gap here. As we look further back up at the SM field, Brandon Collins has now ran the fastest lap of the race, taking that away from Matt Alexander. Taro Kashida still has ran his personal best lap, too, in the second spot. And Matt Alexander right now is just hanging on in the third spot.
So much for Brandon Collins getting a little bit tired doing 2 races out there.
Yep. He's still fresh as a daisy being in the Spec Miata car. A little bit further back, too, you look at the top 10 battle as well. That's a pretty good battle between the 10th to the 14th spot. But looking back up front here, Brandon Collins has now extended the gap once again, has leaded over a half-second gap over Taro Kashida and Matt Alexander. These guys are kind of falling baback off a little bit, but they need to work together in order to go catch the 144 of Brandon Collins ahead. It's now a 1.2 second gap between Brandon Collins and Taro Kashida. Matt Alexander looking outside of Taro Kashida. Doesn't work. We'll think about it. Better of it. Falls back in line, and we'll have to regain the ground back up to Taro.
Cool shot of our Audubon Beaver Dam there.
You can see the different lines that they take here. Matt Alexander takes a little bit more of a shallower line or a little bit tighter line, and it opens the entry up for turn 5, whereas Taro Kashida takes a much more wider line and it narrows it up for turn number 5. So different lines from different driving styles from each of these drivers.
And a lot of traffic coming up here, and they're coming up on traffic that's really battling it out in front of them, so it might not be quite as clean as what they were getting before with some of those other back markers.
But the good news is Brandon Collins being very definitive with his moves. He shows the nose early to Christian Musio, makes the move happen, and going to the inside, gets that spot up. Now he'll look for his sights on Bill Hamill as the next car in front of him as they come off the final corner to the start-finish line to complete the next lap. Blue flags are being displayed for Bill Hamill right there, as he knows the next car behind him is going to be Brandon Collins, and the leaders of second and third are right behind him.
Brandon really taking advantage of this traffic out there. So now he's got one car in between Taro and Matt and himself. So as we're going to come around the next time by to the white flag here. So it looks like as long as he kind of gets through here clean, he might be able to put enough space between him and himself and Taro and Matt Alexander.
Yeah, the left car, Bill Hamill's going to play a huge role here if Bill Hamill does get out of the way really quickly of Taro Kishida and Matt Alexander. Unfortunately, these guys right now are going to kind of catch up on him in a very bad spot. As Taro Kishida now poke the nose to the inside of Bill Hamill. Bill Hamill hopefully able to see it and get out of the way and not slow these guys up as much as they come through the final corner. Unfortunately, Taro was not able to do it, but he'll try to pick the draft off of Bill Hamill going down the back straightaway into turn number 7.
And this looks like a great opportunity for Matt to take advantage here if he can. But no, it looks like he's going to stay to the outside there.
Yeah, no, so now since Brandon Collins is kind of pulled away, he's coming off the final corner. Going to begin the white flag this time by, as Ben said earlier. White flag will be displayed. It's now turned into from a race for the win between Taro Kishida and Matt Alexander to a battle between themselves as who's going to finish second on the podium versus who's going to finish third. White flag displayed. Brandon Collins will receive it. Taro Kishida and Matt Alexander race to turn number 1.
And it looks like Matt, once again, kind of taking that outside line, see if he can get a good run coming out of 2 here.
Had a little sideways action there on the braking on the way into turn number two there. But Matt Alexander well able to hang on to the car. Here's Taro Kishida now kind of holding the spot. A little bit of gap separation between the two. Now can Matt Alexander be able to reel that back in as they head towards turn number 6? Taking the little wide, using all the track possible to him. Maybe thinking about taking a peek to the inside. No, stays in line right now. As Matt Alexander right in the tire tracks to Taro Kishida. Might wait to the second to last corner here. As they come now towards turn number 7, more lap traffic in front. Taro looks to the inside of Emmett Ryan. That lap traffic as now Brandon Collins in the 144 going to come through the final set of corners. The two leaders of Taro Kishida and Matt Alexander are now through. It's a race between them. They'll drag race it.
A little bit more curb than Matt did there. So is Matt going to get a better run coming out of here?
They'll drag race it to the line off the final corner, but it's going to be Brandon Collins doing the clean sweep, going 2 for 2 here today, winning GT and winning Spec Miata. Taro Kishida will hold on to second, and Matt Alexander will round out the podium spot, finishing third. Matt Keck going to come home in 4th spot. He'll take the 4th spot right now. Alex Bertinoli will take home the number 14 car in 5th. Jake Malter will cross the line in the 6th spot as he comes around now for 7th. Mike Bernardi in the number 8 will finish in 7th. Ethan Tyler in the 08 comes across the line right now to finish in 9th. Tom Bagley going to hold on to 10th for 9th, and the battle for 10th is going to be between Kelvin Bauer, Scott Ballard. Kevin Bauer will get the 10th spot. Art Zeismer comes home 11th. Scott Bauer 12th. Scott Bowman in 13th. And Greg Sort 14th, Dave Hicks in 15th. Now we got the battle for SM2 as it still continues to rage on. As we got Luke Satterfield leading the way. Steve Stadolski as they come across the line. I believe Steve Stadolski is going to get the win over Matteo Mazzari, and Luke Satterfield is going to finish in 3rd after leading the race on the final lap and all the way through.
Yeah, so we got to wonder what happened to Luke there. I can see some hand movements from inside the car. Might have had a little bit of an off in the last turn there, so...
Luke Satterfield goes from 1st to 3rd in the last lap. Steve Stadolski able to squeak by, gets the win. Matteo Mazzari comes home in 2nd. Luke Satterfield takes home 3rd. Jake Kobus in 4th, best of the rookies in the SM2 class. Bob Gorsulik will come home in 5th. Kevin Lockridge 6th. Emmett Ryan 7th. Bill Hamill 8th. Chris Musio 9th. And Mark Stadolski will round out the top 10 in SM2. What a great race we were able to see there, Ben.
Yeah, really good racing. Very clean race today. These guys just put their head down and, kind of did their own thing, but kept it clean.
Very hard racing all the way through the whole entire field, and that's what we love to see here at the Audubon Country Club. We train racers, all come from a novice perspective, trying to get racers interested in the racing, and we turn them into racers like we are seeing here on display here today. Here's another look at the Spec Miata top 10. Brandon Collins comes away with the win. Taro Kishida is 2nd. Matt Alexander comes home 3rd, rounds out your podium finish. Matt Keck in 4th, Alex Bertinelli 5th, Jake Maltzer 6th, Mike Bernardi 7th, Ethan Tyler 8th, Tom Bagley in 9th, and Kevin Ballard rounds out the top 10 after that crazy finish that we saw between Scott Ballard and Art Zeisberg coming home for 11th and 12th.
Yeah, and so we're going to head over to kind of following these guys right into the podium, kind of get an experience. So these have just been some great shots, whether it's the in-car, from the drone shots, kind of gives you a full perspective of what the club has, what's going on around here. And you can see those top 3 drivers already. They know where they're going. They're going to pull right up to the podium there.
They know exactly where the winner's circle is, and they are very familiar with it as well. So thank you, Greg Sorg, for letting us take an on-board trip with you around this whole 1.46-mile Autobahn track and being able to share the experience of what it's like to be on track with you. But as we wrap up our festivities here, we're going to go down to the podium ceremony here in a little bit. But for now, we're going to be taking a quick break, and we'll be back here at the Autobahn Country Club.
At Lexus, our motto is you have to feel it to believe it. Experience the exhilaration of the Lexus Performance line.
Defying nature. It's what defines the all-new 2024 Corvette E-Ray. The quickest Corvette ever, with 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. An electrified all-wheel drive that handles all 4 seasons. A supercar of contrasts. It's everything you never expected. One like none.
We're here at the acclaimed Daytona International Speedway to show the Blazer EVSS in a way it's never been seen. It's beautiful with a sleek and dynamic design, but performance is in our DNA. And what better way to put the Blazer EVSS to the paces than having Team Chevy NASCAR drivers Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain get behind the wheel.
She looks fast.
Sure does.
You want to see what she's got?
Let's go.
All right. Yoo!
This is a Blazer EVSS. Let's see what Wild Mode can do.
Let's go. Yes! So much torque.
This is what performance sounds like.
What a ride. You think the Cup car will be that smooth? My turn to drive.
From 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. Experience the sound of performance.
Yeah, I was definitely faster than Daniel.
Welcome back here at the Autobahn Country Club as we have now just finished up our Spec Miata 2 race. We are going to go ahead and throw it down to Kyle Nato down here at the podium ceremonies for today's celebration.
All right. Fantastic racing here at Autobahn Country Club. Got some great battles going on all over the North Track. But there can only be one winner, and we are about to find out who that is right now. We're going to kick off this podium celebration starting with our SM2 winners. In third place, starting out very strong, but unfortunately was passed in the last lap. Third place goes to Mr. Luke Satterfield.
Number 956.
Luke, come on down. Luke, I want to talk to you here just for a moment. Luke, you were leading the race, and it just didn't work out for you, but you still got third place. What happened out there?
I don't know, got blocked by lap traffic. And, it came off the track.
All right, well, taking home a trophy. Either way, some great racing out there. Third place goes to Luke Satterfield. In second place, another podium spot for this young gun here at Auto. Second place goes to Matteo Anzari. Matteo, you've got your cheering section here. Any words of wisdom to the young racers such as yourself out there watching us on the live stream right now?
Oh boy, I should ask someone else. Don't get too cocky.
All right, wise words, staying humble, but getting up on that podium. Matteo Anzari taking home second place. And your top spot in SM2, another young gun here at Audubon Country Club, Mr. Steve Stadolski. Come on down. Congratulations, Steve. I've got a quick question for you. What's it like racing alongside your father?
Interesting. I get a little nervous because he's typically faster than me. So.
All right, well, there you go. A family that races together stays together. As we give a big round of applause to our SM2 victors. Congratulations. All right, as they pose for photos, let's hear it, guys. Give them a big round of applause. All of the drivers here at Autobahn, fantastic racing. And now we're going to kick things off in the SM class. Hard-fought battle between the entire field. But third place goes to the 157 of Matt Alexander. Congratulations. There he is. He was in the shade getting out of this very hot sun. Congratulations, Matt. Watch out, folks. We've got motorcycles coming through. A whole lot of activity going on right here. All right. Mr. Drone, if you can take a look at the front end of this car, there's a lot of rubbing going on in this race. Your second place winner and very hard-fought battle goes to Taro Kishida. Congratulations, Taro. And that leaves the last car. Nice, clean paint job and nice and clean out on track. Your winner, Mr. Brandon Collins. We're going to be... Now, Brandon, clearly you won in GT, and then you were able to jump out of the Porsche and into a Spec Miata. Look at that. Thank our sponsors, Hoosier right there. What's it like racing GT, getting out and getting into a Spec Miata and winning both classes?
I'll tell you what, it's not easy. Hopping out of a Porsche Cup car and into a Miata, the Miata feels like a bucket of bolts, honestly, after that. But, after about 2 laps, you can adjust to it and get right back into what you're used to.
All right, well, congratulations, sir. Head on up to that podium. And, folks, give a big round of applause to our SM winners, all of our participants here today at Autobahn Country Club. All right, to all of the race fans watching on the Autobahn YouTube page, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can go back and watch previous races. You can relive all of the action. That is Autobahn Country Club. Thank you, and have a great day.
And thank you, Kyle, for that, and welcome back from our podium ceremonies and everything. And we want to remind you as well that we have our Spec Miata Triple Crown that's happening next week. So, ladies and gentlemen, fans, if you loved our racing action today, then be sure to come back next week to see our Spec Miata Triple Crown action. That is a fun activity and a fun day of racing. You are not going to want to miss it. But from all of us here at Audubon Country Club and our staff and team members here who put on this awesome, amazing production, I'm Jordan Missig. We're signing off for now. We'll see you next week.